You're standing at the edge of an empty dance floor in a packed bar. You want to jump in and dance, but nobody vibes with the DJ's music. But suddenly, it changes. The DJ plays one song and everybody turns their awkward night into a ravenous party, screaming the lyrics at the top of their lungs. But why? Why do some songs light a fire under you while others extinguish it? And how can you make a song like that yourself? Most music producers don't realize that euphoric feeling that makes listeners want to get up and dance isn't some magical formula. It's a combination of meticulous planning, experimenting, and production strategies that all add up to make a song unforgettable. In this video, I'm going to show you one of those production techniques. And if you can learn to use it correctly, you'll hear that your mixes will start to groove more than they ever have before. When it comes to dancing and groove, there's one part of your track that's more important than anything else: the rhythm section. This includes the obvious instruments like the drum kit, but also the other instruments that add to the groove of the track, like rhythm guitars, percussion, and even slap bass. Although the biggest feeling of your track comes from the way these elements interact with the chords and melody, there are some ways we can subtly enhance their groove to take it to the next level. I call this production technique tempo syncing. Tempo syncing uses the tempo, or BPM, of your song to synchronize the endings of compression, pre-delays, reverbs, and delays to better flow with the track. And when everything is synced like that, the beat feels tighter, groovier, and sounds more professional. If that seems complicated, don't worry, it's not. In the next section, I'll dissect this technique over the 4 parts I mentioned earlier. I'll show you how to do it, and you'll be able to hear the difference it makes. The first step in tempo syncing is to calculate the correct times we need to use on our track. To make things easier, I've created a free online delay calculator to do it all for you. Simply input your BPM into the calculator, and it will show you all of the times in milliseconds for the most common musical notes. If we follow these times and apply them to our plugins, we'll be syncing our tracks to the tempo. We'll be experimenting more with this calculator later, but for now, let's discover how to apply this technique to a compressor. This compression technique can be applied to any compressor on your track, but my favorite place to apply it to is on the drum bus itself. Let's put a compressor on the drum bus and apply the tempo syncing technique. Using our delay calculator to find our times, we're going to apply them to the attack and the release of the drums. The tempo of this track is 92 beats per minute. Let's keep that in mind as we put it in our calculator. We'll open up our calculator, which can be found at musicbymattie.com/delay calculator. We can type in our BPM that we remembered here. Click on calculate, and it will populate with all of the times that are related to 92 beats per minute. Now we're going to adjust the attack and release times to these notes we have here. For the attack, we'll choose something on our list that's shorter, something around 20 milliseconds to let the transients of the drum through. In this case, we'll use 20.38 milliseconds, and we can round that down to 20. Now here's where the magic happens. We're going to choose a few different times for the release of the compressor and choose what we like best according to this calculator. We'll start with a shorter release, then move on to a medium, then we'll do a longer release. For the shorter release, let's find something around 50 milliseconds. In this case, we'll do this one, which is 40 milliseconds. Let's try that release and see what it sounds like. Let's try something that's a medium release and try 150 milliseconds. In this case, 163 milliseconds. Type in 163, click enter. Ooh, I'm starting to like that a lot better. Now let's try a longer release at 300 milliseconds, and we'll find something around here. Let's try 326. Now the release is synced to an 8th note in the BPM. In this case, I like the sound of the second compression settings and release times that I chose. Now I'll A/B that sound so you can hear how it's affecting the groove. Without, with. The attack and release time is pulsing to the BPM of the song, adding groove. If you're struggling to hear this, I recommend turning your volume down. You'll hear the transients of the drums much better. You can also check out the video I made on how to hear compression to find out more techniques just like that on how to hear compression better. Now that our drums are sounding better and more groovy, let's move on to using this technique on pre-delay and reverb. To sync our reverbs to the beat of the song, we'll need to first reference our calculator again. If we scroll down, I've created another type of calculator specific to reverb and pre-delay to make things easier. Now we can choose one of the pre-selected options from our calculator. I'll show you what 2 of them sound like. Let's first try the large reverb option. We'll adjust our pre-delay, then we'll adjust our total reverb time. These 2 times added together are in sync with our BPM. Listen to what it sounds like on these spacious vocals I recorded over the drum part from earlier. We'll place a reverb directly on the track for this application. We'll go into Space Designer, Mono Stereo. We'll go into Large Spaces, go into Halls, and click on Marble Church. Let's start this reverb with our pre-delay at 81 milliseconds. Let's put that in. 81 milliseconds. And in this case, 0.5 will round up to 82. Then we'll put in our decay time at 5100 with 5100 milliseconds is 5.1 seconds. So we'll keep it there. Now we'll use this dry knob, we'll put it all the way to the top, and we'll mix in the wet knob to taste. I don't want you to say my name. I don't think that will be okay. I don't want you to say my name. There's a really cool way of adding reverb that's synced to the beat. Now let's add some ambience to our drum kit. We've already got the feel of the rhythm section dialed in better from compression, but now let's add some reverb to put it even more into a space. This time I'll use the ambience option on the calculator, and I'll adjust the pre-delay and reverb time accordingly. I'll mix in the reverb once again to taste. We'll go into our drum kit right here. We'll add in Space Designer once again. Now this time we're going to be looking at our ambience, which is a quarter note total. We'll start with 10 seconds of pre-delay, and we'll go 641 seconds. 640, that's close enough. Now we'll mix this into taste. Without, with. Hopefully now you're hearing the power that tempo syncing can have on a track. Let's briefly discuss how we can use it on delays. Delays normally already follow tempo syncing. Many modern delay plugins are programmed to delay with the BPM of the song to further add to the rhythmic feel. If your delay doesn't sync with the BPM of your song, you can experiment with the delay calculator to choose some synchronized times. Keep in mind that delays not synced with the tempo will stand out more in a mix. Some songs can ignite a dance floor with unbridled energy, while others are more like a wet towel. In this video, we discovered the concept of tempo syncing and learned its importance in creating a groove that resonates with listeners. With tempo syncing, you have the power to transform a good track into an unforgettable one, making every listener feel more compelled to move. Remember to check out our free delay calculator on our website, subscribe for more content like this, and keep the beats flowing.